Hey guys, back here with Tua for another video. Update, pup date time, week 37. If you're new to this channel, I do this style video every single Sunday on my Bullmastiff Tua here. Basically updating you guys on the week as he gets another week older. And I just try and document anything of note, behavior changes, physical growth. I update you guys on drooling, barking, his energy levels, all kinds of stuff, and I do this every single week to just try to create a great log of information for anybody that might be interested in getting a bull mastiff. I know I had a lot of questions going into getting Tua here, and there is a lot of good stuff out there online that you can read about the breed, but I thought this would just be kind of cool to have a week-by-week breakdown of a bull mastiff and exactly what you can kind of expect, at least what we did with Tua here. So go ahead, check out all the videos if you're interested in the breed. Usually I like to start these videos just with anything new from the week that I thought might be of note. This last weekend we did go visit my little brother. He lives a few hours away from us, and we actually did not bring Tua with us. We definitely could have, but in a few months here we're actually going to be gone for a couple weeks. We're making a trip down to Alabama for a football game like we do every year. And we're not going to bring Tua with, so he'll be staying with my mother-in-law during that time. So we just want to kind of wanted to break the ice with that. So we had Tua stay with her for the couple days that we were gone. And from everything she said, it went really good. She said they definitely had their moments, but he was good overall. So the thing with that is when we got him home, he seemed like pretty tired. And we just kind of assumed, maybe it's just he was so excited to see us and just mentally stimulated that he was just kind of shocked after that and wanted to sleep. But then that night, 12 a.m., he was crying to get out of his kennel. And I thought that was kind of odd because he never, ever, ever cries or whines to get out of his kennel in the middle of the night. So I let it go on for a few minutes, and then after that, I was like, okay, something's up. He's definitely got to go to the bathroom or something. Maybe he's got to pee. Maybe he drank more water than I thought when we went to bed. So I get up with him. I let him out, and he has instant diarrhea, and he threw up also. And he has, never done that, as long as we've owned him. So really strange. Then again, 2 hours later, like clockwork, 2 a.m., same thing, whining to get out of his kennel. And same thing, I get him out, diarrhea, and he threw up again. And then also again at 4 a.m. So it was 2 hours like clockwork. The next morning, I did not give him breakfast. I just wanted to kind of keep him cleaned out. I was making sure that he got plenty of water, but I didn't want to feed him anymore. He had no more poops or throw-ups after that. So then I fed him around mid-afternoon. I gave him just a little bit of his kibble, a little bit of ground turkey, and then a little bit of rice. Just give him something pretty bland, just see if his stomach would take it. And he ate that just fine. And then he didn't really have diarrhea the rest of the day. And I want to say his first poop the next day was actually a solid poop. But then the following day, it kind of went back to not straight diarrhea, but kind of like a soft serve ice cream kind of texture to it. And it's kind of been hit and miss with that now the rest of the week. I'm not too concerned. His energy level is still fine. He's still in really good spirits. He's still eating. He hasn't thrown up anymore. And he will still have a random kind of diarrhea one, but now he's kind of going back and forth from a solid poop to just kind of that soft serve ice cream type consistency. So, I mean, if this goes on for another week or something, obviously I'll go ahead and get him into the vet, but I'm definitely not the type of guy to just overreact and get him in there immediately. And everything seems normal. He's eating, he's drinking, he's pooping, he's not throwing up anymore. His energy and just overall demeanor is perfectly fine. So we'll just see where we go with that this week. He said that he didn't get into anything and just only ate his regular food and only maybe got a couple of treats that would have been unfamiliar to him. So I have no idea what would have caused this. The only thing that I can potentially think of is I didn't send any raw food with her to feed him, so that would have been the only change in his diet, but it's not like I've never gone a day or two before in the past without giving him some raw food mixed in with his kibble. Sometimes I just won't have any available, and it'll be a day or two before I can get to a store. But that would have been the only change, and I don't know if that would have even caused it, but that's the only thing I can think of, so who knows, we'll just see what happens. Another thing I want to touch on from the week is his jaws, as he's getting bigger, are definitely getting very, very strong, and he is starting to chew up toys like very fast now. I'm not going to say that like soft toys are completely out of the picture anymore, but I'd say for the most part they probably are, because he's beginning to tear these things up in like a day or two now, where it used to take him months. These jaws are just getting insane strong. He can just tear everything up if he wants now. Even his rope that we've had since he was a puppy, he tore up this week. And it didn't take him long. It's kind of, if he's just in the mood to tear it up, it's no problem for him. So I think if we do get him any more soft toys, we're going to stick to kind of the cheaper ones, just kind of anticipating that they will get torn up pretty quick. So just something to make note of. Before he was, he'd work on them for a long, long time, but now that he's this old, those jaws are just so strong that he can tear anything up. Probably going to have to stick to hard toys. Now we'll go ahead and just touch on the stuff that I do every single week, starting with weight. So he was 107 pounds last week, and this week he's also 107 pounds. So this is the first time he's never gained weight since I've been doing these updates. And I honestly was anticipating him to lose weight, because with his whole diarrhea thing, I wasn't feeding him quite as much as I normally would, because I wasn't sure how his system was going to react to it. So I would say, had I been feeding him regularly, he probably would have gained at least a pound or two. Possibly more. I think last week was a 3 or 4 pound gain. So who knows? But yeah, that's why he didn't gain any this week at all. I would assume. Definitely didn't feed him as much food. Just trying to keep his stomach a little bit lighter and stuff, with not knowing the sickness or whatever it is that he has. But with that, like I touch on every week, he is a very big dog. He's gaining a lot of weight, and he's huge, but he's still very skinny. Can still see all of his ribs. Can still see all the muscles in his legs, veins in his legs, stuff like that. His diet or food is another thing that I touch on every single week. If you are a regular viewer of this channel, you know I supplement with raw food in with his kibble. I try and switch it up kind of week to week, getting as much different kinds of foods as I can. This week we did chicken wings, ground turkey, eggs, beef liver, and rice. And he seemed to like all of that. He's had all of those before except for the rice. And he scarfed it all down like normal. And with those chicken wings, that is bone and all. I've mentioned this many times on the channel. It's okay for them to have chicken bones as long as they're uncooked. If they're raw chicken bones, the dogs can digest them. You just have to kind of be careful. They can be a bit of a choking hazard if they're too big. So definitely just keep an eye on that. But raw diet's been going great. I would really recommend any of you guys to look into it if you haven't. It just gives your dog lots of good nutrients that you maybe wouldn't otherwise be able to get into their diet. So go ahead and look into that. Socialization is another thing I touch on every single week. Kind of like last week, it was another bad week for it. We were really busy. I only got him out on one walk, and he did kind of see our neighbor and our neighbor dog. And he did really great with them. And our neighbor dog actually got kind of aggressive with him, nipped at Tua, and Tua did not show any sign of aggression at all towards that dog, so I was really proud of him. It almost made him want to play even more. So Tua to this point has never really shown any signs of dog aggression or any signs of aggression towards people. He's been very, very stable. But we've worked a lot with him, exposing him to lots of people and lots of dogs as much as we possibly can, starting pretty much from the day we brought him home. And I feel like his temperament's definitely reflecting that now. And I'm very, very happy with where he's at. That's probably the second or third time he's had a dog kind of be aggressive towards him and nip towards him or nip at him. And he's not been aggressive back, so I'm loving that. My previous dog was a Doberman Pinscher who was very dog aggressive. And it was kind of a pain to deal with. So let's hope that Tua keeps going down that path, which I think he will. Barking is also something I touch on every single week. Like previous weeks, that's kind of unchanged. Most of the barking he does is when he's in our yard. and he's I feel like trying to guard the yard. Like if he hears stuff off in the distance, he'll kind of run around back there, let out some barks. But if we're out walking or out on a location away from our house, away from our yard, it's very rare, if ever, that he lets out any sort of bark. I mean, if we're at a store or on a walk or we take him to parks and he sees people or dogs or anything, he's never really barking. There is some sort of huge fireworks show. There's some commercial business or something putting something on a few miles from our house. And they've been practicing and doing that all week. I don't even know what it is, but they are loud fireworks. They're huge. It's making our house shake. And like I said, we're a few miles away. So when Tua's been out in the yard this week, he's been barking at those sounds. But that's kind of normal for the way that he is as a barker. Like I said, if it's kind of an unknown thing, he'll bark at it for a little while, and then he'll kind of move on. Drooling is another thing that I touch on every single week. He's always been like a water-related drooler. After he drinks, he's going to have water dripping from his jaws. And then I've also said that if we're out walking and it's very hot and he's panting heavily, he'll have some foamy drool coming down. But this week there was a little bit of a change. Like I just talked about those fireworks. Last night especially, they were going off like crazy, and he was in our house kind of pacing around, and you could tell he was getting kind of stressed out. And he actually got some drool coming down from his jowls, as I'm showing you here. And that's the first time that he's ever really drooled just being in our house, when he's just kind of hanging out. But he wasn't really hanging out. He was walking around, pacing, kind of mumbling under his breath kind of stuff. And you could tell he was really stressed from these huge loud bangs. Like I said, they're pretty much shaking our house. It's crazy. So that's the first time I've seen him drool kind of non-water related, non-food related, non-being hot and panting heavily related. It was like just stress, which made him drool. And it wasn't a lot, and I just went ahead and wiped it up. But something to make note of. Energy is the last thing that I touch on every single week. For a long time here, I'd say a month and a half probably, I said that he was in this teenager phase where he was kind of being defiant. Energy was up, especially at night, like after dinner time for a few hours. And for the last several weeks, I've said he's been kind of coming out of that. And I would say that downtrend continued. He definitely, from the last couple previous weeks, as I've said, he's coming out of it. He continued to come out of it. Energy was not as high this week. But it's still up a little bit, but definitely not like when he was in the peak of that teenager mode. I would say a few weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, was probably the peak of that, and he's steadily been coming out of it ever since. So it's not like he doesn't want to do anything. He'll still run around and stuff, but when he was at the peak of that, it was almost like you couldn't stop it for a few hours. It just was what it was. But he's been pretty lazy this week for the most part, but it is what it is. That's the breed. As he gets older, I'm sure he's going to get very, very lazy, and that's okay too. But that's everything I have for this week. As always, if there's anything that you'd like me to touch on that I don't already week to week, go ahead and let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.